After a wild week one in the NFL, with both me and Ashton getting completely wrong most of our picks, how will week two fare? Join us today as we go over our week two NFL predictions. Hey guys, welcome back to the Mr. R Show Sports, and we're here today to go through our predictions for week two. Ashton, what a wild week last week. We finished the week. I was 8 for 16 in predicting last week. You were 7 for 16. So I have a one game advantage on you. But it was wild. I'm not going to gloat because I was still 50% wrong. It was Jaguars winning was shocking upon others. It's going to be a wild season if it's like going to be like week one.
It's a marathon, not a sprint. It was a rough few games. I picked the wrong Super Bowl competing team to lose. I even said in my video I knew I should have went with my gut, and every time I go against my gut, I end up not picking the right team, and it kills me. Some of the games I did not see, like Washington, like Eagles. I remember looking at my phone, seeing like 17-0, and being like, "Oh, nice, that's a dub. Put that in the pocket, secure it." And then the Eagles didn't agree, because
No,
man, Andy, that was a shameful display.
that's just what the NFL is. It's so hard to be.
I
You look at the beginning of the season, our predictions are going to be probably already off now, but it's so tough because any team can really win any game. Last year, the Texans beat the Chiefs in the regular season, and Chiefs won the Super Bowl. So you don't. It's hard to go undefeated. That very few teams have, and even when they do, they can still lose the Super Bowl, like the Patriots did.
mhm. Yeah, it's very hard to judge, especially with no preseason. So you remove another thing to look at these teams, get a time to judge how chemistry. I know a lot of people were looking at a certain team in the NFC West as trash, and they turned out not to be. But
Okay, okay. We'll get to what you're alluring to later when we talk about their
okay.
predictions.
So, Andy, let's talk about Cincinnati versus Believeland, because they were sure believing last week.
Awful, awful performance by Baker Mayfield. He looked awful. This is, I think, his third or fourth head coach since coming to Cleveland. It's one of the two. He looked awful last week. He wasn't comfortable. Odell Beckham was nowhere to be found on that offense.
He's requesting a trade now.
Exactly.
So,
Nick Chubb
yeah.
can't do everything on this team. As good as he is, he can't. Defense against, albeit it is Baltimore, the defense was gone. They were already ready to go play Cincinnati. They just got blown out. How do you
Yeah.
think their Thursday night game, so quick turnaround? How do you think this game's going to go against the Burrow-led Bengals?
I think the Bengals. To be honest, one of the games that a team that won that didn't deserve it was the Chargers. Chargers did not deserve that win. It just. I remember watching the last few seconds, and the kicker just whiffed it. So it wasn't on Burrow. Burrow had a rough first half, but after that, he settled in. He looked really, really good, even on a Cincinnati team that's like it's like rebuilding almost, but in the middle of rebuilding. So it's definitely a better team, I think, than Believeland, and I don't think I honestly think Baker Mayfield's going to get outplayed easily.
Cincinnati's kicker, didn't he pull his hamstring after that kick? Wasn't that him?
I don't know. They're saying it's not a severe injury, so
Okay.
he
He
could have
better
gone
hope.
to the same acting lessons Ramsey went to.
Yeah, he better hope that was a real injury, or he's not going to live that down. But I have the land winning this one. Cleveland gets the win. I don't think it's going to be a good
Ooh.
game for them. I think it's going to be close. You look at the glimpse of potential, the glimpse of greatness we saw of Burrow. He did not have a great game, but we saw flashes. He ran that ball in for that touchdown, was amazing. He has the weapons on offense. It all depends on the offensive line how they hold up, and the defense how they hold up. But against Cleveland, I think they'll be fine. It's going to be close, but I do have the Browns pulling out a close, hard-fought victory on Thursday. Next game, Ashton, sticking with the AFC, it's a Sunday game. Buffalo Bills take on my Dolphins in Miami. How do you see that game playing out?
Well, I'm higher than Dolphins than even you are, but man, you're gonna lose. That Buffalo defense is a, a machine.
100%. I liked what I saw from Miami other than Ryan Fitzpatrick. Every other person was good except for Ryan Fitzpatrick throwing 3 interceptions because we kept close to the Patriots. We lost by 10 points, so it wasn't a blowout by any means. But it's not the Bills. The Bills have a dominant defense that should not have let the Jets score as much as they did. I think they kind of checked out after halftime, honestly, because they had the game in hand. That might pay dividends against a better quarterback, but Fitzpatrick isn't that. I don't think Tua's going to start or be close to coming in yet. Buffalo gets an easy win.
If Tua comes in, this game is a really close game. I'll say that. I do think the Dolphins are better than what people give them credit for. And, if Tua comes in, I think they're a wild card-ish team. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
But without Tua and with Fitzmagic, he'll put in one surprising game every year. And I don't know if this is the game. I mean, if they win, it would be surprising just because Fitzmagic used his one gold coin to do his superpower just for one game and be perfect, and then the rest of the season he'll be trash. So let's move on to Denver at Pittsburgh. Or yeah, I think that's at Pittsburgh. Who you have?
I got Pittsburgh. I mean, Pittsburgh wasn't great against the Giants on Monday night, but Big Ben's back. I think he wants to win. He's missing all of last year pretty much. I think it's going to be a good game. I like the kind of grittiness of both these teams that they have on defense. I know the Broncos are down Von Miller, which will help the Steelers in the running game mostly, and even the passing game because Von Miller can do it all. But I think the Steelers pull out a close win against Denver.
Yeah, I agree. I think Pittsburgh will probably win by like 10 points or 7. Not a huge victory, but big. I mean, Denver was it was what I expected, just average. They're middle of the road. They're not a bad team by any means. They'll beat some teams. Pittsburgh is a little bit above average, but they're just, especially on offense, they lack any explosiveness, it feels like. And
I can agree with you for now, but it all depends on how Juju Smith-Schuster turns out. If he's that number one receiver like they want him to be, this offense can be great. But it all basically rides on the shoulders of their receiver because they have Big Ben, as long as he's on, his age doesn't start to show. And I like James Conner. I like his message, and I like his play.
He did a good job recovering that fumble too. That by all means should have been a Giants recovery, but
moving on,
Juju saved it.
Moving on to the next Sunday game, and they're sticking with the AFC. The surprising undefeated Jacksonville Jaguars go on the road to face the Tennessee Titans.
Andy, how does it feel that the Jacksonville is doing better than your Dolphins? Does that hurt you in your heart?
No, I mean, it's rebuild, Ashton. What do you want me to say? That I was wrong, that Jacksonville's a Super Bowl team or something? Because that ain't going to happen.
Oh, Minshew mania. To be honest, one team that really disappointed me and was very lackluster was Tennessee. Now, granted, their kicker missed like 5 field goals. So
he was. I honestly think he missed 1 for 4 on the day, and that one field goal got him to win. So, but we're not gonna let him live down that.
That was like 15 yards. Like a high school kicker can make that. I'm not saying it's easy to be a kicker, but what I'm saying is they left a lot of points on board, so it looked like less of a win than it was. Still, Tennessee had a lackluster game, in my opinion. I dropped a little bit of stock on them. I don't think they're going to Super Bowl after that performance. They had to come out really hot.
But I tried to tell you when we did our predictions earlier about the season that I don't think the Titans can make it to the Super Bowl. They were a Cinderella team last year.
Hey, the 2007 Giants. Did you know 2007 Giants is the only team in last 15 years to go 0-3 and then go on to win the Super Bowl? They beat the undefeated Patriots.
It's crazy to think that you said Giants, right?
Yeah.
I thought so. I was making sure I didn't hear Jets, but it's still crazy to think at the state now that the Giants used to be a Super Bowl team. It's just crazy to think that. But
yeah, I go Tennessee.
Okay, good. I pick Tennessee. As much as I love looking at Gardner Minshew's luscious locks and mustache, leading that team to a surprising victory. That's just one game. Like, good job. You won a game you weren't supposed to week one. It's week one, though. Tennessee's a different ball game. Their running game is almost unstoppable. You don't have the defense to do that. And Ryan Tannehill, all he has to do is not get interceptions, and they should win this game. But moving on to high-powered offense of the Chiefs against the weird Chargers.
Chargers should be 0-1 right now. So the Chargers are a mess of a team. I mean, congrats, you beat the Bengals with a first-year rookie. Yeah, the Chiefs are gonna just have their way with the Chargers. I would be surprised if it's less than 10 points.
100%. The Chiefs are gonna blow out a Chargers team. Albeit, I think the Chargers defense is a little bit better than the Texans, but the Chargers offense is leaps and bounds worse than the Texans offense, and that's saying a lot. So the game should still be lopsided even with that. I think the Chiefs are easily going to put down 31, 38 points, and the Chargers can maybe get 14 out of that. So it's going to be a blowout victory, very lopsided. We just talked about the Texans, so let's talk about their game. They do not get any rest after playing the Super Bowl champions in the Chiefs. They have to play the Baltimore Ravens, who, let's remind our viewers, won, was it 38-3 against the Browns last week? If I'm remembering that correctly, a dominating performance.
6. I think the Browns got 6.
Got two, yeah. Sorry, 2 field goals. But who do you have winning?
You don't need to ask that. Just let's move on. The Texans gonna lose. It'll probably be like 36-17.
Yeah, Baltimore's gonna win this game.
Yeah, if these are games where, like, for Kansas City and Baltimore, if you're gonna be Super Bowl contenders, you have to win these gimme games, and they are gimme games. You have to win them, and if you lose them, you're looking a little in trouble, at least in that moment. So, Minnesota at Indianapolis.
Very interesting. I like this interesting matchup. I don't think that the Colts were weird. They did lose to the Jaguars, but they didn't look awful. I wouldn't say. I think Jonathan Taylor looked pretty good his rookie debut, but Phillip Rivers has to be better if they want to win. The defense needs to stop teams they should stop, like the Jaguars, if they want to win. Minnesota put up some good points against the Packers last week, albeit they gave up also tons of points, over 40 points to the Packers, over 350 yards to Aaron Rodgers. You're not going to win, but I think the Vikings can pull this one out. I think the Colts are just not as good as the Vikings talent-wise, and they should play good.
Yeah, I have Minnesota definitely. Phillip Rivers is convinced in trying to have as many interceptions as he has children. So, a lot.
9, actually. Did you know that? I was watching the game, and they said Phillip Rivers got 9 kids. I'm like, what the heck? When does this man have time to be popping these kids, getting his wife to pop these kids out while he's playing football? I mean, it's like, my gosh, 9 kids? Man.
So, San Francisco at New York Jets.
I feel like we should need to talk about this game. Like, how if the 49ers lose to the Jets, there's no chance I have in my mind they can win the Super Bowl. They shouldn't have lost to the Cardinals. If they also lose to the Jets, their season, it's not over. But how can I have any credibility talking about if they lose to the Jets?
I think if they lose to the Jets, it's a Super Bowl slump, confirmed. Put the confirmed tag. I mean, the Rams took 3 weeks to start falling apart last year. San Francisco just decided not to skip all that and start doing it early part of the year if they lose to the Jets. Because Sam Darnold definitely sees some ghost.
There's 2 options. There's 2 options here. If they beat the Jets, we can start saying maybe the Cardinals are better than we thought they were. But if the Niners lose to the Jets this week, they're going to be very, very slump related talk. The 49ers going 0-2 with losses at home against the Cardinals, and then the Jets. against Sam Darnold, who looked absolutely trash against the Bills, with no weapons on defense at all. The Jets, with both their star players, Jamal Adams being traded, C.J. Mosley being opting out, they have no excuse to lose this game.
I don't think you should look into much if San Fran beats the Jets. It's the Jets.
Oh no, we
Their
should.
their front office is dysfunctional. Their offense is mediocre at best, and then their defense is hot garbage. So it's like San Francisco should win them, and if they beat the Jets by 15 or not but like by 17, that's not impressive. It's the Jets. If they beat them by like 50 or something, then maybe. But I got San Fran winning this, and if they don't, then the NFL gods are determined in making me look stupid.
Moving right along to probably, actually, it is the best game of the week. Patriots with Cam Newton, the Seattle Seahawks. It's going to be a showdown. I will start because I watched the entire Patriots-Miami game and got some stuff to say about the Patriots. They did not impress me, Ashton. They looked a lot worse than they should have. Albeit they probably should have scored 31 points because of a fumble in the end zone and a missed field goal. But if it wasn't for that defense catching 3 interceptions off of Ryan Fitzpatrick, they probably should have lost this game. I wouldn't say they were getting outplayed, but they were not playing to win. They were playing not to lose against Miami. Was not a good look. Offense at times just looked lethargic, looked stale, like they didn't know what to do. It's a learning curve, I understand, bringing a new quarterback in, trying to mix Bill Belichick's system with the pocket pass, short dink and dunk short passes with the Cam Newton, read options, RPO kind of style. So it's a learning curve. But you got to go up against Seattle this game, which looked dominant against the Falcons on the offensive side of the ball. Defense is another story, but offensively, Russell Wilson had a day. The offense had a day. They looked great. And I just don't see how New England's going to stop it. And I got Seattle winning a close game.
Yeah, I have Seattle winning by a touchdown. I think New England looked all right on offense. It wasn't a nightmare that some some AFC fans would want, but it definitely is good enough to get them a few wins against especially bad teams, but not Seattle.
I will say, if you're a Bills fan, you're probably happy because you looked at this Patriots team and said, "Oh yeah, we should beat this team," and they should. The Bills are a better team. They look more complete right now, but we'll see. Cam Newton could turn this thing. He didn't have a bad game. No interceptions, 70 yards on the ground. He had a good game, but they need time to learn. But with the NFL, it's hard. You don't really get that time, especially with the season where you have no preseason. So it might take 3-4 weeks for them to get on the same page. But you start losing games, it'll come back to bite you.